Look closely. Beneath the coarse hair, dozens of swollen ticks cling to skin a buffalo cannot easily reach on its own.
The tiny bird lands, grips the giant like moving ground, and begins searching every fold for an edible prize.
At first light, an old Cape buffalo leaves the grassland and heads for water, carrying more passengers than the eye can see. Ticks favor warm, protected places, and a buffalo offers plenty: ears, neck folds, bellow, groin, and the softer skin beneath its tail.
Some are tiny and newly attached. Others have already swollen after feeding, turning a patch of ordinary hide into valuable feeding ground. Yet grooming a body this large is difficult. Many places remain beyond horn, hoof, tongue, or tail, leaving room for another strategy. From the reeds comes a specialist built for those unreachable places, the red-billed Oxpecker, a small bird with an unusually practical appetite. Its feet are not designed for delicate perching. Strong claws let it cling to moving mammals as securely as another bird grips bark. The bird braces with feet and tail, then begins a methodical search, turning the buffalo's body into a landscape of ridges and valleys.
Oxpeckers often use a side-to-side scissoring motion, sweeping the bill through hair and across skin to expose hidden insects and ticks.
When it finds a tick, the reward is immediate: protein, fat, and a meal already concentrated into a small package on the host.
The buffalo often tolerates the inspection because the bird reaches places the mammal cannot, especially around the head, neck, and ears.
Around the ear, every movement must be precise. The cleaner probes exposed folds, while the buffalo can shake its head at any moment. A sudden ear flick is enough to test that grip. The oxpecker simply hops aside, waits, and returns to work within seconds. One bird can cover surprising ground, but buffalo often attract more than one cleaner, each searching a different patch of living terrain. Now the giant enters the river, and the cleaning shift changes. The birds stay above the waterline as a second world opens below. For the oxpecker, a buffalo is more than food. It is transport, a lookout post, and a moving platform across the savanna. The coral red bill is short and strong, suited to picking, probing, and slicing through hair as the bird searches for exposed prey. A captured tick disappears quickly. The bird wastes little time because the next meal may be only a few centimeters away. The best patches change constantly. Water, mud, body heat, and the buffalo's own movements alter where insects remain easiest to find. As the buffalo sinks deeper, submerged areas become unavailable to the bird. It retreats toward the shoulders, spine, and horn base. Even the horn boss creates sheltered edges where flies and ticks may gather, so the cleaner checks every transition between hard horn and hide. The host keeps moving, breathing, shaking, and turning. A successful oxpecker must feed while constantly adjusting to a platform weighing hundreds of kilograms.
Cleaning is only part of the job. From this elevated perch, the bird also watches the surrounding grassland for sudden movement.
Keep watch.
Something's out there. The buffalo relaxes, and the bird resumes the quieter business of finding food. A familiar story calls this perfect mutualism. The buffalo loses parasites, and the bird gains a reliable meal. Reality is less simple.
Oxpeckers may also seek blood or tissue at wounds, behavior that can work against healing and blur the line between helper and exploiter.
Hosts sometimes tolerate oxpeckers and sometimes resist them. A partnership in nature can be useful without being peaceful every second.
For this buffalo, the bird remains because the opportunity is still worthwhile. Unreachable pests above water and abundant feeding for the cleaner.
But beneath the surface, another crowd is arriving. Small fish gather around the legs. Drawn by underwater, the buffalo becomes a moving structure. Each step stirs sediment, plant fragments, tiny invertebrates, and other edible material into the current. The fish close in, not as attackers, but as opportunistic foragers investigating the surface and everything loosened by the buffalo's movement. Some nibble at mud, loose skin, or tiny organisms on the submerged hide, behavior that looks remarkably like a freshwater cleaning station. Across Africa, fish are documented cleaning hippopotamuses, removing loose skin, debris, and parasites. That makes the resemblance here especially tempting. But a specialized fish-buffalo cleaning partnership is not firmly established. These scenes should be read as opportunistic foraging, not proven mutualism. Even without dedicated cleaners, immersion changes the battlefield. Water softens mud, loosens debris, and one hoof movement releases a cloud of opportunity. The fish dart through the silt, picking at whatever edible particles the giant uncovers. Around the lower legs, mud and hair trap organic material. The shoal concentrates there, using quick bites before the current carries food away. For a moment, the buffalo is surrounded by two very different feeding systems, a proven avian cleaner above and opportunistic fish below. The oxpecker never needs to enter the water. It simply follows the shrinking strip of dry hide as the buffalo settles deeper. When the buffalo turns, the shoal opens like a curtain, then reforms behind the body, where stirred sediment creates another feeding patch. Many of these fish may be feeding on what the buffalo disturbs rather than on parasites themselves, a distinction easy to miss on camera. The buffalo contributes its own defense as well. Wallowing, soaking, rubbing, and skin flicks can all reduce the discomfort caused by ectoparasites. For the first time this morning, the buffalo appears still. Yet the invisible struggle between host and parasite never truly stops. As the buffalo rises, fresh territory returns above the surface. The oxpecker immediately follows the retreating waterline and resumes its search. Wet hair lies flat, making some parasites easier to see. For the bird, the bath may briefly turn hidden prey into obvious targets. One careful pinch, and another tick is gone. The act is simple, but repeated across a buffalo-sized body, it becomes significant. The image looks like a coordinated team, but ecology demands caution. Similar timing does not always mean the animals are deliberately cooperating. The oxpecker knows when to leave. A half second before the strongest movement, it releases its grip and rises above the spray. Seconds later, it is back aboard. For a bird adapted to moving mammals, interruption is simply part of the feeding routine. On land, the buffalo adds friction. Tree bark scrapes mud and loose material from the hide, reaching places the bird may have missed.
The cleaner follows behind the host's own grooming, exploiting what becomes exposed. This partnership works partly because both animals keep changing the surface.
Tail swishes defend the rear against flies, while the oxpecker searches nearby folds. Different tools overlap without doing exactly the same job. Even the cleaner needs maintenance. Between feeding bouts, the oxpecker preens its feathers, resets its plumage, and rests on the warm host. The buffalo chews and dries in the shade, showing no urgency. Relief in the wild is often measured not by drama, but by calm. Yet this bargain has another side. The same beak that removes ticks can also seek blood when an opportunity appears. Oxpeckers are not gentle doctors. They are hungry birds, and blood can be attractive enough to complicate the story of helpful cleaning. When a bird becomes irritating, the buffalo can twitch, shake, or shift away. Tolerance has limits, even between familiar partners. The oxpecker adjusts immediately, moving back to intact hide, where ticks and insects provide food without provoking the host. By late morning, the buffalo leaves the water. The river has cooled its body, loosened debris, and interrupted another cycle of irritation. The oxpecker holds its ground, turning its host's departure into a lift toward the next gathering of insects. From the buffalo's back, the oxpecker also gains a commanding view, able to notice movement long before many ground-level animals could. A sudden call makes the buffalo lift its head. Whether warning or simple communication, the sound is one more signal in a shared landscape. Ahead, the herd waits in the grass. Every animal there carries its own burden of flies, ticks, mud, scars, and daily compromises. For the oxpecker, one host is never the whole world. It can move between large mammals, following food across an entire herd. That mobility keeps the relationship flexible. The bird is free to leave, and the buffalo is never completely dependent on a single cleaner.
The real survival advantage lies in combination. immune defenses, grooming, mud, water, herd behavior, and
A bird barely larger than a hand can still influence the daily comfort of an animal hundreds of times its own mass. The fish at the river were opportunists. The oxpecker is the established specialist. Together, they reveal how crowded one animal's
In the wild, survival is rarely a solo act. Sometimes the smallest visitor earns a meal while making life easier for a giant.